All right, let's get started here. I'm going to share my screen. The presentation I put together for you is going to be kind of unusual because I'm keeping my slides kind of layered on the left. The reason why you'll know in a minute is because I want to draw on this presentation, and the only way to do that is when it's in edit mode, not presentation mode. So just ignore what you see on the left side of my screen here in a second. It's because I like to take all of my listeners to kindergarten and draw all over things, because it's the best way that I can visualize, and I think a lot of loan officers are visual the same way I am. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get rolling. Okay. Can I get some kind of confirmation, Trevor, or from Chris, somebody on my team, that you guys can in fact see the screen?
Yep, you look good.
All right. Okay, guys, thank you for joining me. Before we get rolling, I just wanted to take a minute to introduce myself. Some of you may have known me, may have talked to me, know my history, may even be members of our company. Some of you may not be. My name is Michael Neff. I'm the founder of Pre-Approved Me, and I started originating loans in 2005. Cut my chops on the broker space, went quick into banking, and I had a very good mentor early on in my career that told me the most important thing I could do as a loan officer is focus on the people that manage the valuable piece of the process, okay? And I know for a lot of us that's kind of like a sour taste, but the real estate agent controls the product our clients care about. So I was mentored very early on to focus on realtor relationships and build my business on that. What I quickly learned was that realtors work on the weekends and evenings, and that I struggled to maintain any balance in my life. So what did I do? Like any good entrepreneurial mind, I created a solution. Now, we're not really going to be talking mostly about that solution today, but about the market and how it's caught up to the way I thought about the mortgage industry back in 2011, 2012, when I first came out with our platform, and what we can see in the next 10 years as the market continues to improve its mortgage technology, and maybe more important than that, what consumers are comfortable with when it comes to technology. So we are talking today about the mortgage revolution and how loan officers can compete with billion-dollar tech giants today. Now in the chat, if you guys want, who am I talking about when it comes to tech giants? I like to have a bit more of a casual presentation, so please keep that chat open. Let's talk through it. Okay, who am I talking about when I'm talking about billion-dollar tech giants in the mortgage space? Rocket, exactly. Rocket's the big one. They're the number one stunner in the space. So let's go through and talk about it. Okay, here's the reality. Okay, here's the reality of Rocket's strategy. They understood that the American consumer, and really this is probably worldwide, that the majority of people, when it comes to technology today, they immediately think their cell phone. Chris, are you able to mute people?
Do you have a safe one?
Let's see here. Sorry, guys, 1 second. Okay, cool. Most people consider the cell phone the staple for all technology today, right? Because it's the device they carry around with you every single day. 98% of adult Americans own a cell phone, with 91% of them being smartphones like this. I'm sure that every single person on this call, on their desk, right in front of them with notifications blasting, will have a smartphone within arm's reach. 62.5 today in 2025% of web traffic now comes from mobile devices. Okay, this continues to go up every single year. A lot of our origination platforms even allow us to originate loans from our phones. It's a beautiful thing. It is the reality of your customers today, and it is how Rocket Mortgage intends to put you out of business. Okay, the average American spends 5+ hours on their cell phone. Okay, and that's up 14% from 2024. And when I leave my children unchecked, okay, go on a trip, they get the cell phone, and I check their screen time at the end of the day, they're supposed to have 2 hours a day, okay? Enforcement's another question. They have sometimes 9-10 hours of screen time on their phone a day. They're just literally absorbing content, researching, watching videos. They call it TikTok brain. We're now enforcing that heavily in my house, but it is a true problem. and it is shaping our culture. The average person today checks their phone 144 times, okay? And they check their phone, about 90% of people check their phone within 10 minutes of waking up in the morning. Now, kind of a sad story, as I was preparing this presentation, I tried to take a look at my life, try to understand how these data points are related to how I run my life. And what I found was pretty unfortunate. The last thing I say goodnight to and the first thing I say hello to in the morning is my cell phone. Okay, that's a habit I'm now changing, but it was unchecked until now. A couple weeks ago, I left my office to go to the bathroom, got about halfway there, realized I forgot my phone, came back, grabbed my phone, went to the bathroom. How many of you on the call have done that? Okay, that is a sad reality of the younger generation today. And I'm not even young anymore. I'm in my mid-40s, and I'm still subject to this. Okay, your customers are living on their phones, but where are you as a loan officer? Okay, where are you in their life? So I'm going to go through what I call the 4 phases of a buyer journey. Okay, this is how your customers approach the process of learning about anything they want to buy. This isn't just mortgages. This is cars, boats. It could be an Xbox. It could be their next cell phone that they want to purchase. There's an educational phase, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and draw this, and this is why I'm keeping this presentation sort of in this loose mode here. I'm a very visual person, guys. I'm not a technologist. I'm an idea person and a loan officer. So this is how I think, all right? So at the end of the day, guys, there are 4 phases. The first phase is what I call discovery, all right? Forgive my chicken scratch. Now, if you think back to the first time you guys bought a car, generally speaking, it happens because of some sort of event. I got a bonus, found out I'm pregnant, I'm moving to an area that needs 4-wheel drive. You know, there's something in your life that takes place. My friend got a car. I realized that maybe I can get a nicer car. In Oregon, there's all sorts of rebates for electric cars. They're basically giving them away. Oh, I can get a free electric car. Okay, Trevor on this call just took advantage of that with Tesla. These are events outside of our control as loan officers. We do not exist during the first point in time when a customer decides they maybe want to buy a house. Okay, generally speaking, unless you have an amazing lead funnel that educates customers, it's rare that we live at this point in time. Okay, so what is it that gets them interested in this process? As my mentor said, it's the home. We all know this. They dream of owning the home, not paying their mortgage for 30 years. And every single thing they do during this education phase, each of these check marks represents new data. Okay, what do I want? They're self-identifying, they're talking to their friends and families, their kids, they're researching online. Each of these data points gets them closer to going through the pain that is a mortgage process. Okay, of course, technology is going to make that easier, and that's great, but there's still uncertainty. How many of you guys have watched the new movie Wicked and the original movie Wizard of Oz? So this is the analogy I like to make when it comes to the mortgage process. We live in Oz, in the castle, next to the wizard. Okay, the wizard's the underwriter, the person who judges everything, controls everything. Your customers is Dorothy. They know nothing about the mortgage journey. They know they're supposed to follow a road, and everything that they mention or they see along the pathway is stressful, scary, and uncertain. So when it comes to this process, they wait till the last minute or until somebody tells them they have to do something. Okay, generally speaking, who's the person who pushes the customer to get pre-approved? Use chat, guys. Use the chat. I'm going to say the big R. Supposed to put a circle around it too, right? Okay. The big R. Get pre-approved. Why? Why do they say that? Well, simply put, they don't want to waste their time showing houses to clients who don't qualify. Real easy. Boom. Get pre-approved. Very small sliver of time here in a fairly long education phase. First-time home buyers today, 6 months to 2 years Okay. This is the standard timeline that they live in this phase. The next phase is what we call qualification. Okay, they're qualified. So this is great. You've taken their application, you had enough trust in their realtor, you built enough trust with the customer, they applied with you, you did your job. Now, most of you can qualify a client on the back of a napkin. So technology is kind of irrelevant here. You could take a phone call. If you understand their credit, you could likely qualify, I'm not saying pre-approve, but pre-qualify a customer on a napkin. But once they get pre-qualified, they finish this phase, this little sliver right here, which I call the pre-approval or pre-qualification, okay? This phase right here, what do? What's the next thing they do after they get pre-approved? They go back out and they start searching for houses again. So they've already been educating themselves for 6 months to 2 years. Well, today, there's much more inventory than there is active buyers. So the timeline, 6+ months for the customer to find a property. There's a lot of fear in the market. What are rates going to do? Are they going to come down? If they come down a little bit, I can afford more house. There's a lot of this going around. So they continue to look. The problem is it's disconnected from the loan officer. Okay, because again, you did your job. Now you send them out in the marketplace. They're working with their realtor and primarily engaging with companies who do not have your interests in mind. What's the number one search engine on the internet today? We all know the answer to this, and that is Zillow. Okay. Number 2 and 3, realtor.com and Redfin. Okay, those are the next. Once they move it through this, if you built enough trust, you stayed in touch with your clients, then they will move from qualified to, let's just say, under contract. Okay, under contract, UC, transactional management. This is really where you get to work. Okay, you stepped in here, you qualified them, they shopped for 6 months, you're now under contract. Conversion rates in this phase, guys, are really good. They picked you already. You're good at what you do. So now what we're doing is we're delivering loan status updates, collecting loan documentation, etc. As they move through this journey, they get to the closing of the transaction. You hope their experience was positive so that they refer you to their clients and leave you a positive review. And now they exit stage right, this process for the next 5 years. Why is that? Because now they are homeowners. Homeowners. So they don't really need to get pre-approved now, unless they're investors. Maybe they want to check the market. They want to know what their neighbor's house sold for. But realistically, now they're moving into a different education phase. How do I manage this freaking thing that I bought? Okay, so I'm going to move on. Okay, traditional loan officer timelines here, right? In the discovery, as we just showed you, you're invisible. Essentially, they're on Zillow shopping. During qualification, you show up during the interview. If you're doing it online, it might be less than 60 to 90 minutes. So very little relationship building there. The transaction, of course, you're present, right? You're coaching them through the process. And as a homeowner, you're competing against the white noise of everybody else who wants their attention as homeowners. So you disappear, okay? Meanwhile, the realtors have spent weeks or months talking about their dreams, their goals, building relationships, sharing meals, learning their kids' hobbies, checking in about their games. Realtors, even though they have a much stronger relationship with these home buyers, do not get conversion rates the next time around. Very low number convert the second time, okay? Rocket and Zillow, in the meantime, they own the data across all the phases. So let's see, how did Rocket deploy this concept to their advantage? This is how tech giants capture the market. Okay, Rocket's ecosystem. It started years and years ago. You guys remember the Super Bowl ads, okay? Click Mortgage, Rocket Mortgage. Millions of dollars invested in ad campaigns. It was a Wizard of Oz mobile app. Now, it's not a reference to earlier. There's a term in software called a Wizard of Oz software. They claimed that you click and all this stuff is happening in an automatic way. Well, really what happened is you clicked, it went to a call center. Somebody was typing furiously over here to get all the numbers dialed in, to get them qualified. It would say, hey, you'll hear back from us in 30 minutes. And somebody was doing the work behind the curtain to make it happen. Well, it's exactly like the Wizard of Oz. The wizard had no power. There was not a secret there. It literally was nothing. Okay? But the consumer didn't know that. Well, of course, it's evolved since then. It's been 10 years. So Rocket Mortgage is actually now relatively close to Click Mortgage. Of course, they have a call center. Okay? But that wasn't enough because people necessarily didn't care only about the experience. Rocket wanted to expand who they had access to. So what they developed next in the phase here, it's not exactly a line. There you go. Boom, Rocket Money. Why? Because if we can understand the financial trends of our customers, if we could see their buying habits, they start buying diapers, they get a pay raise. There's events that they can absolutely tie to the most common reasons people buy another house. Okay. And they're analyzing that, and the consumers are giving them that data freely. So then, boom, they get a notification that says, hey, it looks like you might be pre-approved to buy a house. Boom, that starts the educational process where I'm thinking about it. What would it look like if I could do this? I got to start with the dream. So now they're hand feeding them listings from Redfin, which they acquired. Okay. Redfin leads to pre-qualification through Rocket Mortgage. And then, of course, they closed the loop recently. I'm sure all of you know they closed the loop with their acquisition of Mr. Cooper, #1 largest servicer in the country. They now own the entire life cycle, and it looks exactly like this. Okay. I call this the great American draft for mortgage consumers. They have first round draft pick, guys, in every single draft because they own the ecosystem. They know when the clients are going to buy. They know they give them the shopping experience. They make the mortgage easy, and they bring them back to the front when they're ready. And they're doing that through technology. Okay. How is Zillow doing this? Well, they own search. They have a complete lock. 44% of home searches today are managed on Zillow. Every listing is what for Zillow? They don't make their money because they're altruistic and people throw the money. They make money selling leads. You guys know this. You might have bought them. Okay. I remember when Zillow came to the market, they started selling leads to realtors first. I had strategic meetings with my realtor partners, and I said, listen, I think long-term you're fundraising your demise. You're paying for it. You're putting yourself out of business, and maybe short-term you're getting leads. That is happening both on the mortgage and real estate side. It will continue to happen, as you know, over the next 5 to 10 years, and will get worse and worse. Okay. Your borrowers become a lead that's sold to your competitors. So then today in the mortgage space, how do you as loan officers compete? Well, there are options. Okay. Mobile, which is again where your customers are doing all of their commerce. It's the device they carry around in their pocket. Okay. It is the most important device. Statistically speaking, there was a research study done. If you could only grab one personal object from your house, not kids, not pets, from the house before it burns to the ground at night, what would you grab? 78% of people said their cell phones. Okay. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is today, most mobile plays in one of two categories, and there's almost no crossover. So mobile today is either transactional management, point of sale, taking an application, collecting loan documentation. They make that committed part of the process easy. Okay, remember, I'm just going to go back here. That is this phase here. They're already committed to you. It's this little sliver right here. Nothing in here, very little to nothing in here, and absolutely nothing here. Okay. This is good, but they've already picked you. If you didn't have that system, somehow you would have closed the loan. Okay. Or if they're not a transactional management system, it's like a virtual business card, a vanity card, where you can sort of provide some links, some resources, maybe educational content. Now, this one's a little bit closer to home when it comes to bringing value outside of the transaction. Okay. But the big problem with it, generally speaking, is that there's what we call a life cycle mismatch. If they go into your point of sale, they're going to see tools that help them move through the mortgage journey. Well, if they're not moving through, if they're shopping for homes now, or they're post-closing, and they're seeing tools that help them through a mortgage journey, there's a disconnection. Okay, somebody who closed 6 months ago sees an application link to get pre-approved or a loan status update link. It feels tone deaf and useless as an app. Okay, real estate here, the most valuable real estate I believe in the world today, the 3.5 inches you carry around in your pocket, you have to fight for their position in there, which means providing value. Okay, so if your app is tone deaf, doesn't understand where they are in that journey, doesn't deliver content that's useful to them based on that position, it will be deleted. And then it serves nobody. Okay. Now, the same is true for CRMs, guys. Most loan officers today, when you say, how do you market to customers? They think, well, I have a CRM. Marketing is synonymous with CRMs today. And essentially the problem with that, while it does organize your tasks and lets you know who to talk to, the problem with it from a marketing perspective is email is the most number one commoditized form of communication in the world today. Everybody from Panera to Rocket Mortgage is sending them emails. So it's very difficult to stay top of mind when CRMs and email is your first line of defense. Okay, so we're talking again, life cycle mismatch. Okay, again, just real quickly recap, and then I'm going to get into the solutions here. The discovery phase. If you have a tool that says upload documents, track loan progress, it's lost, falls on deaf ears. They don't care about that. What they need is home search, a place to calculate payments, educational content and value, a way to communicate with you directly, okay? Videos, podcasts, blog posts, stuff to help them feel like they're improving or speeding up their discovery. Once they close a loan, I'm just skipping to the very end here, guys. Once they close a loan, if your app says get pre-approved, submit application, tone deaf. What they need is equity tracking. They need refinance opportunity calculators. They need home service providers. Maybe they can make a payment. These are just examples of things that a customer who owns a home might find valuable in your mobile app. Okay? And this is how you use Rocket Mortgage's research against them. Okay? So let's talk real quick then. So what's the solution? So for those of you who are on the call who are already members, you have the solution, but here's a weird statistic. Most of our members are not leveraging the system the way it's designed. They're using it as like this piece, the Simple Nexus version, right? Which is the application and the transactional management, and they're not leveraging it for these. I'm going to show you guys later how to change that. For those of you who are new to this, Pre-Approve Me, we are a marketing point of sale. We help you manage every phase in the mortgage journey so that your customers stay in front of you and they're consistently getting value. We don't just help you close loans, we build a lifetime relationship with your clients. So let's talk through it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. What you guys are now seeing on the right-hand side of your screen is a example of it, Renegade Mortgage, okay? It's my little mortgage business, which I just started again. So I've been non-originating for the last 10 years. Been focusing on my software. I'm going to make an announcement here at the end of the call that I am pseudo doing loans, but really to help bolster the success of our members. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. But what we're looking at here is what a lead might see when they land in your mobile app. Okay, so you need somebody at a soccer game. They go to your website, they click download my app, a realtor shares it with them. They're going to see tools like this. Now, this is completely customizable. It's totally white label, top to bottom. We have a lot of tools that are built out of the box that you can just simply embed, or you have the capacity to embed your own tools. So what a lead might see in this view is they see integrated home search. So I click on that, you guys can see here's listings, live listings. They can look at map views. There's all sorts of filters. They can use AI to search. So if I wanted to, for example, search for a pool, house with a pool in Westland, Oregon, type it in there, look at the search. From here, I can dive in. Now, guys, we have national search, okay, because we need to make sure that your customers have access to all the data. So we have the same data as Zillow. Okay, they can search homes, favorite them. They can look at their qualifications, see how payments are broken down. They can request reviews from you if they're not qualified. Remember, this is a lead. This person is not qualified yet. It even says right on here, you may be qualified, but need to talk to Michael first. Okay, we want them to be able to feel like we are not presenting brick walls. And one thing I can tell you 100% for sure is they're not going to get sold to another loan officer. This is your data. This is your customer inside your mobile app. Okay, so what else are we going to see? Of course, we want to encourage them to apply for a loan. Maybe I embedded my own rate sheet. Okay, maybe I want them to be able to message me. Well, one thing that's really cool here is everything we do is from top to bottom is completely co-branded. So if you've got real estate agents, co-branded. You can even embed their tools in the mobile app. So if your real estate agent has a great podcast, embed it, add it to the mobile app, provide that value. Okay. I've got great home buyer education that I embedded here. So if I've got first-time home buyer, VA loans, investor education. Now this is not stuff that comes natively with our solution. It is something you just, if you have the resource, you can easily embed it. So if I go to my first-time home buyer guide here, you can see I've got educational modules that they can read through. I can dive more deeply into it, learn a bit more about the process. I even embedded a podcast here. So if my clients want to actually listen to content, they can do so. You probably can't hear it, but
plays your first home. It can feel, well,
that's how it works. It's just one example, guys. Now, with the advent of AI, it's become a little easier than ever to create landing pages, to embed videos into web pages, which is essentially what we did here. In a few minutes, we were able to curate, create, and deploy educational content to help keep my customer as a lead, learning more about me, learning more about my mortgage company, and self-selecting, hey, I want to learn about what it's like as a veteran to buy a property. Okay. Now, it keeps them out of Zillow's ecosystem and helps them build a relationship before they're ready, right? Position yourself as an advisor, an educator, not a salesperson. So what I'm going to do now is where we really separate, because there are a few systems that allow you to embed custom tools in their mobile app, okay? You've heard of them. Systems like Linktree, okay, CardTap. These are essentially virtual business cards. They're very useful, okay, during one phase. They get overwhelming if you try to pack all the content into one mobile app. Okay, it gets very disjointed. So on my side over here off the screen, I'm actually going to change the status of my client's deal from lead to pre-approved. So let me change that now. Your client, if they were logged into the app, they're going to see this. There were outside changes made to this loan. Do you want to refresh? Yes, I do. Now watch this, guys. Watch how the UI changes. Different tools. What's the reason? Well, because they've progressed to the next phase in the process. Now I need to present them information, education that matters to them. Now this is a pre-approved borrower. So what do they want? Well, of course, they want home search. They also might want the ability to run numbers, identify if they qualify for the property, and get pre-approval letters right from the app in real time. So this is all powered by their qualification. Okay, we've got their income, assets, and debts on the backside. We've got some loan guidelines tied to it, and we're decisioning the loan based on the data. So if I put my price in here, I'm going to change this to, let's say, I'm going to change this to, let's say, $400,000. Sorry, my phone screen is 400,000. See if I'm qualified for that. I still am. My DTIs. Let me go to $1 million. Is that $1 million? That's $1 million. All right, not qualified, guys. If I really want to, I can see a payment breakdown for those engineers you work with. They can see amortization schedules. And this is just one of the tools that helps keep people coming back to you. Now, we're not naive enough to believe that if you've got home search embedded, that it's the only home search they're going to use. Okay, the data doesn't suggest that. Actually, the data suggests the opposite, that they're going to look at Zillow and realtor.com and Redfin. If you've got your own app, but you have qualification tied to it, okay, look at this, guys. You're likely qualified for this property. Boom. I can even filter based on qualification. I can show only qualified properties if I wanted to. I can look at map views. So now what I'm able to do is give my clients a better experience. And the way I do that is I say, listen, the properties you find online, they know nothing about you. They don't know your income, your debts, your credit, your goals, your dreams. But our app does. So when you log into there and you want to search for homes, the listings will show you if you're qualified. You'll see your payment and you can get pre-approval letters in real time. So even if your clients go to Zillow, what they do is they come back to your app to validate. Well, let's run my numbers. If I'm not using the search to run it, I'm using the calculator. I can validate my payment, see if I qualify and get that letter. Now, this is surreal for me as a loan officer because the first time I had my client issue a pre-approval letter in an automated way, I took a step back and I asked myself the question, what would I have had to do if I wasn't able to give them a tool like this? And it was something like get in the car, drive 30 minutes, get home, or pull on my laptop, connect a Wi-Fi hotspot, tell my kids will be back in a few minutes, run the numbers, okay, open up my point of sale or LOS system, run the numbers, determine if they qualify, create a Word doc, turn it to a PDF and send it out. Now, technology has improved. A lot of other places are allowing you to get or send letters now in a more automated way. We invented that, by the way. Everyone's copied us. But if your clients and realtors can do it, that changes the game. So now the client's pre-approved, you're giving them the tools they need to be effective while they shop, and you can also give them what I call the promise of a future experience. So you notice I keep some of the transactional management tools in here. I want them to know they're going to get loan status updates. Okay, it makes them feel good, makes them less unsure about the process. I want them to be able to see that they can start uploading loan documentation. They may have already done this because they applied with you. So from here, I can manage everything. I can take a picture of documents, I can upload them. We are platform agnostic. So you want your clients to be able to manage the experience where they live. They can do it on their phone, via email, on the web portal. They get text messages, push notifications. We send emails out, okay? Very simple for your team to scale because they don't have to do multiple things based on the client's expectations or needs. Okay, you guys can do one thing at one location. We distribute the information out and they get to manage it how they want. Okay, that's how you scale. Phase 3. So the next thing, guys, you're managing your transaction here. I'm going to go to the next one here. I'm going to go to phase 4 actually and talk to you a little bit about what happens in other scenarios. This says home ownership tools because this is about our post-closing configuration. But you can do more than that. Let's say this client needs credit repair. I'm going to move the status of my loan here to credit repair. And in just a second or two, this will tell me there's an update. What happens during credit repair, guys? Again, they leave your office and they start working with somebody else. And as a part of that, they continue to dream about the property. So I want to make sure that they can manage that experience, that they can get value from our system, including the continuation of those search tools. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and mark this loan closed because I want to show you how we're managing closed loans. Now we do integrate with several of the industry's most popular closed loan management tools, including HomeBot and HomeIQ. And what happens when we close the loan is we actually send the data about their property directly to those people, to HomeBot or HomeIQ, and they return it to us, and that builds what we call a home value report. Okay. We pull from Google an actual image of their property to display it there. You would communicate to your customer, hey, you've been using my mobile app, running numbers, issuing letters, uploading docs, checking status, all this stuff. Don't get rid of it because now as a homeowner, I'm sure you want to check the data around your property. Okay, so here's the home value report. This is just, again, an integration with my HomeIQ. But the thing about these systems, their claim to fame is, guys, their open rates are absolutely massive. So if you send an equity report to somebody, I'm sure those of you on the call who've experienced it, they get like 75 or 80% open rate. Why is that? Well, it's because people care about tracking the equity in their home. They care about understanding if there's a refinance opportunity or tracking what their neighbor's house sold for. Okay, they're homeowners now. They want to manage that process. What HomeBot or HomeIQ don't tell you is that open rate is like 80% the first day and like 15% the second day and almost nothing moving forward until the next month. That's not because people don't want to go back and check. It's because they deliver it via email and text, and any inbox is like a waterfall. Starts here, the next day, it's at the bottom in a pool, competing with everybody else. So they simply can't find it anymore. So we can curate it, deliver it in a place where they can get all of the information they need. Okay, I've embedded some additional tools here, like the ability for them to review your service. Okay, there we go. Leave a review. Refer you. Just share the app. Search for homes. I built a little tool here so people can search for service providers in my area. I want to talk to this person. I need some electrical work done. This is verified by my loan officer. Okay, now again, I mentioned AI. This is not a tool we offer out of the box. This is a tool that I built and I embedded very easily. Okay, I've got robust calculators here. Got a refinance calculator. This is a tool that comes with the system. Okay, what's my old loan? What's my new loan? What's my savings going to look like? Now, if you know who's servicing their mortgage, you could take the 30 seconds and you can actually add a payment gateway. You have UWM loan? There it is. Service your own loans, put the payment gateway in there. Let them make payments from your mobile app. Okay. You want a free mortgage forever? Who here doesn't want a free mortgage forever? Look at this tool I built, custom built. Look at this. Oh no. I don't know if you guys get that joke, but I thought it was hilarious. My brother thought it was stupid. You guys got rickrolled. So what are we talking about here then? Okay. Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate it. I appreciate the laugh. I was feeling insecure there for a second. So what's your competitive advantage? Okay, pre-approve me, technology. Okay, it's like your own custom version of Rocket with the power of a local loan officer. That is what we're trying to build here. Okay, now I know Trevor on this call, who's on my technical team, is on my team, been with me for a long time. He knows these features that we're talking about today are used only by power users. So that's our offer today. Okay, what I want to talk to you guys about is, well, first, let's talk the market, and then I'll make the offer. Okay, what we're seeing in the market today: fewer, larger players squeezed. They're squeezing independent LOs. They are deploying technology that we can't compete with. Okay, realtor partners prefer tech-enabled loan officers. We are even seeing, I'm not even kidding, we're seeing loan officers or realtors, realtors say it's okay to work with Rocket. The experience is getting better. They're going to continue to improve the experience. 100%, their business relies on it. Okay, their retail business relies on it. I know brokering to them is a decent experience. I have my own hesitations there, but the lifetime value of any customer is $50K. Multiple transactions over a 25-year career, $50K per customer. So can you really afford not to compete and to create your own ecosystem to bring them back? That's the question. So here's the offer. Okay, take action today. For those of you who are already members, the good news is you don't have to do anything. Just get signed up for a member training, and we're going to enroll you in our 90-day customization boot camp. We're going to be launching 2 cohorts, existing members and new members. Okay, scan the one on the left if you're an existing member. You're going to join me to customize your mobile app. We're going to get together collaboratively, talk about the tools, how to deploy them. We're going to get them stood up. We're going to make it work for you. Okay, that way you can get out into the market and start having success right away with your own ecosystem. For those of you who are not members yet, when you join, you're going to be enrolled in a cohort of like-minded people who will go through the process and will do the exact same thing. Your onboarding will include a 90-day customization bootcamp where we get the mobile app looking, feeling, working exactly the way it's supposed to to create that customer for life experience. Okay, you get with that a white label mobile app, your customer lifecycle interface, and your realtor co-branding throughout the entire platform. Okay, now if you're not a member, book a discovery call. We'll talk one-on-one, and that's where we're going to talk pricing. I promise you, is much more affordable than you might expect. And if you just want to reach out and have a conversation with me over email, you can see my email there at the bottom, and our website if you want to just sign up for a free trial and start goofing around yourself. Okay, now we are pretty early. Chris, my brother, is probably pretty impressed here. We're 20 minutes early, so I'd like to open up for questions. If anybody has any questions. Okay, let me get my little, just stop sharing my screen so I can actually, oh, did I do that right? Chris, can you still hear me? Okay, there we go. All right, let me go through here. Trevor, you've been curating questions, or should I just read this top to bottom?
Yeah, I'm sending to you in a direct message.
Okay, great. Let me do that. Is there any reason to have compliance concerns if we show listings? No. We have vetted this from a compliance perspective. It is essentially, there's rules surrounding how you can display listings, and we're required by the MLSs to display the broker of record. We license this data through a very mature partner, and they have gone through the process of looking at how we display it and approving it. So, Crystal, thank you for the question. Yeah, we're good on that front. The nice thing when it comes to realtors, you can let them know that there's no way to reach out to the listing agent through the listing to book a meeting or schedule showing. If they want to, they can contact the realtor that's co-branded. That's it. Is the app an app borrowers need to download from the App Store? David, great question. Yes and no. We have both options. So we have sort of like a what's called a progressive web app, which is actually what you're looking at over here on the right. And this is a web page that they pin to the home screen of their phone. Okay, they just add it to the home screen of their phone. We have a premium offering. Mortgage companies, brokerages, or enterprising individual loan officers who want their app in the App Store, we do that. We've done like over 100 native apps in the App Store in our career. And yes, Ashby, we are a full-fledged point of sale. So we have a loan application, doc collection, loan status updates. You can manage your pipeline in there. You can classify by processing status. Your processors get access for free. And so, yeah, we absolutely are a full point of sale as well. Jennifer, yeah, home search is an add-on. So we have a base plan, and we have home search add-on. And as you guys can imagine, that data for a 50 state national 98% coverage home search is absolutely astronomically expensive. It's incredibly expensive. So it is unfortunately an add-on, and we hope everybody takes advantage of it because we think it's really a great tool for your clients and realtors. Brian, great question. Your company uses Arrive, and you'd like to hear how we can integrate with that. Well, Brian, we will reach out to you soon. I actually just recently joined a mortgage company. They are an Arrive company, and a part of my agreement with them was that we would work on an integration with Arrive. So once that's done, we'll be deploying it to the masses. It's my understanding that we're going to get API documentation for the first direct external integration with Arrive. Normally, people have to do the integration using Zapier. That is a bit painful. So I am not making any promises today, but I joined the mortgage company specifically because of that promise. Okay. And guys, by the way, that 90-day cohort strategy planning is also me standing up my own mortgage career and building this out to serve my clients and realtors and trying to attract as many referral partners as possible. And I want to do it with a group of loan officers who are like-minded. So while I'm going to put the full power of my development team and my marketing team behind this, and if you guys are in the 90-day cohorts, we're going to get to do that together. So I'm very excited about that concept. Any other questions? Do we use a separate HomeBot or Home IQ? Yes, George. If you're a member, you just integrate it. It takes just a couple seconds to request it, and then maybe like a day for it to be completely set up. And once that's done, you get sort of unlocked a post-closing view, and including the home value report. Let's see. And Trevor answered that in chat. Let me think. Any other questions here? Crystal, you said, am I saying I'm going to help build it to your liking? What I'm saying is we're going to meet as a group. So when in software, you call it a cohort. Cohort is just like a group of people with the same goal, and you work through a process together. So what we'll do likely is we will meet, we will discuss our problems, not with the technology, but like with what we're seeing in the market. Like, well, realtors are needing something like this, or my customers are frustrated because they don't understand this. And we'll come to a consensus to say, well, what we really should be doing is building this and embedding it. And so when we come to an agreement, we'll build it, we'll embed it, and everybody who's involved in the cohort will do that. Okay. Now there's limitations to what we can and can't do, but we'll work on it collaboratively. So the answer to your question is, yeah, we are going to build it out to your liking. It's not completely custom because, again, it's a cohort voting on what's important. And it's me also deciding what do I really think that my realtors and borrowers need, and how are we going to improve this experience. Okay. Your question, Crystal, here at the very end, you said a personal level, are these parts set up and shown already? Most of our customers get in here and they never change anything. We have very good default configurations for leads, for loans, for post-closing. If you have HomeBot, those three categories are pretty well established. So a lot of our customers find that that's enough transformative app experience for them. We do have several people who dive really deeply, and they embed all sorts of videos, they embed podcasts, or they embed all sorts of crazy stuff. Those are our power users, okay? The cohort offering is sort of like a guided power user onboarding. David asks, is there a way to co-brand the app with realtors? Yes, the entire thing, top to bottom, is completely co-branded. Not only is it co-branded, share my screen here. You guys can see this. This is the co-branding. This is my realtor. Okay. Completely co-branded, including tools that my real estate agent has. So what I would do as a loan officer is I would say, hey, what sorts of online tools do you have that are valuable to our shared customers? I'm going to embed them in the mobile app so that when you share the mobile app, or when somebody applies using this co-branded link, your tools are going to be in there, not just my tools. Okay. This is, by the way, guys, and I'll teach you as a part of the onboarding, we'll do some trainings. I'll teach you how to leverage this to attract new realtor partners. And I'm going to be doing it at the same time as you guys are going out and doing it. Okay. Good question. Any other questions here? Let me stop sharing and go back to the meeting. Oh, yeah. So, Ashby, good question. Yeah, the mobile app icon is customizable. So, not to go into the weeds too far, but let me show you. So if I was inside of this ecosystem here, I'm just going to go to my settings here. I'm going to go to what's called my app config. And we have an app icon right here. It can be an app icon like this. It can be a picture of you or your dog. Doesn't matter. Okay, this is what will show up when your clients and realtors download the app. Your realtors have access as well, guys. You can build custom configurations for your real estate agents. So if you have tools that are maybe more for the professional side, okay, market trends, rate forecasts, pricing scenario calculator, AI underwriter, whatever you want, you can literally create a widget for that purpose. You see, here's all the ones we kind of have out of the box for that. You can select pages, embed it directly in the mobile app, and now your realtors have a reason besides sharing your co-branded app with somebody to use the app. Okay, there's a tremendous amount of value too. When your realtor has access, they can click on the home buyers button. They see a pipeline of everyone they work with. They can select that buyer's name, and then they can get dropped directly into that customer's experience. Okay. So then they can run numbers, search for real estate based on qualified status, check loan status, look, see what documents are outstanding. There's a lot of transparency there they don't get otherwise. Okay, yeah, if anybody has pricing questions, we're going to handle those one-on-one because it just depends on if you're a single loan officer, you're a group, if you want native app, if you want home search. There's a couple levers there. I want to make sure I'm speaking accurately to everybody. Okay, so Daryl, yeah, just reach out to me directly via email or book a discovery call. We can talk about it there. Okay, my calendar's pretty much open all winter. We don't get a break this time of year. It's about planning. And if you purchase something now, you get to write it off this year. So put that little carrot out there for you. Any other questions? Crystal, yeah, you had a question about custom integrations. Yeah, you can essentially embed whatever you want, but if the data has to connect to our system, you can use Zapier for that. If it's something we're not natively integrated with, we do have a lot of native integrations. We have a lot of LOS integrations. We have like the HomeBot, the Home IQs. We have some outlier integrations like DocuSign, Dropbox, these kinds of integrations to make the system work more smoothly. Okay. Any last questions? You guys have been great. Daryl's got his hand raised. Do you still have a question? You want me to unmute you? Or has your question been answered? Sweet. Oh, guys, well, that's it. Thank you very much for your attention and time today. I know that I can talk quickly. Some of the concepts here might be things you already understood. Some of them might be new. I'm always game to talk in more detail about it. Again, I'm going to just put this up here one last time so you can take a picture of it. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my presentation. Let's get you guys, here it is, guys. If you need to book with me, feel free to, if you're a member, book over here. If you're new, you want to just talk shop, discovery, understand pricing, discuss the platform. We do replace full point of sales, guys. So if you're currently using Flowify, Simple Nexus, a blend, something like that, we can absolutely be a replacement, but we do not need to be. You can use this as a supplement to your existing systems. Cool. All right. Thank you guys very much. Have a great Christmas, and we'll talk to you guys soon.